Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. A member of Donald Trump's cabinet has now been snagged in the Jeffrey Epstein files. The latest documents released show that Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick socialized and did business with Epstein and lied about it. And now even Republicans are demanding Lutnick's firing.
He's got a lot to answer for, but really he should make life easier on the president, frankly, and just resign.
Lutnick lived next door to Epstein in Manhattan for 10 years, but as recently as last October, Lutnick insisted he cut off all ties with Epstein in 2005, 3 years before Epstein was first convicted of sex trafficking.
I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
Lutnick described getting invited to Epstein's mansion next door in 2005 and being disgusted.
So he gives me a tour in the living room, big living room. And then across from it is double doors. I assume it's the dining room.
Yeah.
And he opens the doors and there's a massage table in the middle of the room.
Ooh.
And candles all around and stuff. Massage table in the middle of your house? How often do you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he gets weirdly close to me.
Ooh.
And he says, and the right kind of massage.
Ooh.
Now my wife is standing here. So she looks at me and I look at her and we say, I'm sorry, we have to go. And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again.
And Lutnick, to emphasize his claim he never saw Epstein again after 2005, added this.
So I look back at it as a gift.
Yes.
He gave me a gift.
Yes.
Of avoid.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
So
that's
he
my
was-
story. A one and absolutely done.
A one and absolutely done, except that part of the 3 million pages of newly released Epstein files show that Epstein and Lutnick remained in contact well past 2005, as recently as 2018. One email with Epstein's schedule from May 1st, 2011 shows a 5 p.m. appointment with Howard Lutnick for drinks. In December 2012, documents show Lutnick and his family planned to visit Epstein's private island. At the end of that month, Epstein and Lutnick both invested in the same business. Their signatures are seen here on legal documents. And again, some of these Epstein-Lutnick interactions came years after Epstein first pled guilty to sex crimes in 2008.
What questions do you have about Lutnick's ties to Epstein, and should he come before Congress and testify?
No, he should just resign. I mean, there are 3 people in Great Britain that have resigned in politics. The ambassador from Great Britain to the United States, the prince lost his title for less than what we've seen Howard Lutnick lie about. Look, Howard Lutnick clearly went to the island, if we believe what's in these files. He was in business with Jeffrey Epstein, and this was many years after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted, lightly sentenced, but was convicted for sexual crimes. So he's got a lot to answer for, but really he should make life easier on the president, frankly, and just resign. If this were Great Britain, he'd already be gone.
Howard Lutnick acknowledges that Jeffrey Epstein had videos of nearly everything that happened in Epstein's mansions. And Lutnick says he believes Epstein used the incriminating material to extort and blackmail people.
This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever. Blackmailed people. That's how he had money. So
what happened to those videos? Why is there now such a dearth of information when, Donald Trump's people are running the FBI and the DOJ?
I assume way back when they traded those videos in exchange for him getting that 18-month sentence, which allowed him to have visits and be out of jail. I mean, he's a serial sex offender. How could he get 18 months and be able to go to his office during the day and have visitors and stuff? It must have been a trade. So my assumption, I have no knowledge, but my assumption is there was a trade for the videos because there were people on those videos.
And have you talked to Donald Trump about this and shared your theory?
No, I mean, he knows the story.
Right.
But
Oh,
my story, that you know, I was one and done with the guy. You know,
Yeah.
he knows that story, but that's it.
He
Nah.
would have been interested in that story.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's a story. It's just a one and done. That guy. Ugh.
The question now is, why would Howard Lutnick tell a false story? Why would Lutnick claim his interaction was a one and done when it clearly was not? Well, perhaps Lutnick was one of the Trump friends who counted on these documents never seeing the light of day or being blacked out and redacted so that Lutnick's name would never appear. Oops. Howard Lutnick is not the only person, though, close to Donald Trump who's in trouble over the Epstein files.
And then there's Steve Bannon, Trump's former White House strategist, who apparently has been sitting on hours of unseen footage with Epstein, footage that Epstein's brother has been trying to obtain.
Headline: Steve Bannon was planning to produce a pro-Epstein documentary on the day of financier's arrest. Emails reveal that Bannon was making arrangements for a redemptive documentary to counter damaging narratives advanced by Netflix's Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich. Filmed on location in Little St. John Island, the abandoned project was going to feature testimonials by Epstein pals like Michael Wolff. Quote, "If we arrange it, can we film on the island?" Bannon asked, referring to Little St. James, Epstein's private Caribbean island where he's alleged to have sexually abused minors. Epstein immediately agreed. Bannon, though, has been more discreet than Howard Lutnick in talking about Jeffrey Epstein. Plus, Steve Bannon is out of government. Howard Lutnick is in Donald Trump's cabinet as Commerce Secretary. To be clear, there is no evidence that Howard Lutnick engaged in any crimes with Jeffrey Epstein. Also, if there's anybody who might deserve a pass from the guilt by association, it is Howard Lutnick. Lutnick was the chairman of the bond trading firm Cantor Fitzgerald. In the 9/11 terror attacks, 658 Cantor employees were killed, including Lutnick's brother. Lutnick was scheduled to go to the World Trade Center office of Cantor Fitzgerald that day, but had to take his son to kindergarten first. Lutnick's life has been marked repeatedly by tragedy. Still, Howard Lutnick's claim about a one-and-done interaction with Jeffrey Epstein was an obvious and blatant lie. And it makes you wonder what else Lutnick is lying about. Congressman Massie is correct. Howard Lutnick should resign from the Trump cabinet and step down as Commerce Secretary. Lutnick may be a likable guy and a sympathetic figure, but the Epstein lies are atrocious. And it suggests that Howard Lutnick is more concerned about helping an Epstein cover-up than in getting the Epstein victims justice and the truth. By the way, one of Donald Trump's ICE agents has now been criminally charged for assaulting a man who was merely filming the ICE agent.
Walking around on the side over here. I don't want anybody sticking their camera in my face. I don't know what he's trying to do with this.
In Chicago, that is ICE agent Adam Sirocco. He just pushed an observer and is now whining to local police.
I'm pumping my gas here. I'm pumping my gas. He parks or he's walking over there. He comes with his camera. He's showing me pumping my gas. Starts walking around my car. Takes a picture of the license plate, I'm assuming. Comes around over here. I said, "What are you doing? Why are you filming me?" I tried to grab his phone. I don't know.
But Sirocco didn't just grab the man's phone. He allegedly threw the citizen to the ground. Big mistake. Because this was the victim, Robert Held. And Held is a lawyer who knows his constitutional rights.
I don't know who this guy is. And I don't like him sticking a camera in my face. I want to know what he was doing with it. I want to get the picture and I wanted to delete it.
Yeah. Okay.
The police play it cool with Sirocco and then interview Held.
Thank you for coming out here.
No, for sure. So what's going on?
So, I filmed him. I think he's a federal agent.
Okay.
And he got very angry that I was filming him. And he ran up to me. He grabbed me. He threw me on the ground.
Are you law enforcement or what's...
No.
No?
No. I'm
You
just
have no federal involvement or
zero.
anything? Okay.
Zero. He threw me on the ground. And he tried to grab the phone out of me.
Okay.
And that's what happened.
Held is 68 years old.
How do you grab you? Like by your jacket or?
To be honest with you,
What do you call?
because of my adrenaline, I don't know, but there's a witness.
I'm right here.
Okay.
She probably knows better.
I and stopped at a light, and I saw this old man being tackled to the ground and pulled around like this by that man. And so I started beeping my horn so people would notice.
Okay.
And I said, "Get off him! Why? What are you doing?" And that's the only reason I'm here is just to tell that.
I got you. Okay.
check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular from CVO who wrote, "Imagine an ICE agent complaining about their privacy being violated." Indeed. I look forward to reading your comments about Trump Cabinet Secretary Howard Lutnick getting busted in a lie about Jeffrey Epstein. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.